The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to The Crow. I'm your host, Liam Higgs. So let's get right into it with our top stories, starting in Vancouver. Vancouver is set to host 7 matches in the FIFA World Cup in 2026. Vancouver will be home to 5 matches, as well as 2 knockout round games, combining for a total of 7 games. Mayor Ken Sims says the World Cup is a great win for the city and its tourism sectors. All games will be held at BC Place. A new court date has been set for 5 ex-Canadian hockey players facing charges related to Canada's 2018 World Junior team. A hearing was held this morning in London, Ontario. None of the 5 players appeared on the video hearing. The 5 players facing charges are Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Alex Formanton, Carter Hart, and Michael McLeod. There's also a press conference today at 11 o'clock. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says if he forms the next government, he will make sure auto thieves spend at least 3 years in prison if they are convicted for a third time. He told reporters that he plans to ban house arrest for those convicted of an indictable offense. He says Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been too soft on audio thieves.
Police are powerless to stop career car thieves, and even after those thieves are convicted, Trudeau's Bill C-5 allows them to serve their sentence in their living room, watching Netflix.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says auto theft has been a national crisis with more than 200 vehicles stolen every day. British Columbia's post-secondary education minister says she will undergo anti-Islamophobia training as calls for her resignation grow. Selena Robinson says in a statement today that she committed to making amends for her remarks during an online panel last week when she said Israel was founded on, quote, a crappy piece of land, angering pro-Palestinian groups. Multiple British Columbian mosques and Islamic associates sent letters to Premier David Eby calling for her resignation. They also said no NDP registered member or candidate will be welcomed to their sacred places until action is taken. In other British Columbian news, RCMP are praising Nanaimo community members for helping a man who has climbed over a side of a bridge. Officers say the man climbed over a railing on Bastion Street Bridge and had clung to a lamppost when several residents tried to talk with him. When the police arrived, they were able to pull him back over the railing with the help of a pedestrian and take him to the hospital under the Mental Health Act. Teachers in Saskatchewan are headed to the picket lines again this week. The Saskatchewan Teachers Federation says Crichton School Division, Northern Light School Division, Prairie Spirit School Division, Greater Saskatoon Catholic Schools, and Saskatoon Public Schools will strike Wednesday. Saanich police say a woman was killed Friday after being struck by a vehicle on Patricia Bay Highway. Officers say the woman was a resident of the region and died on scene. Officers say the driver of the vehicle remained on scene and has been cooperating with the investigation. They say impaired driving and speed have been ruled out as contributing factors in the crash. Let's go south of the border as well as let's see what's going on in South Korea. There has been criticism of the border provisions from a Ukraine-Israel foreign aid bill that emerged this weekend in the U.S. Senate. ABC's Steve Portnoy reports.
The Senate is due to take its initial test vote on the bill on Wednesday, and it needs 60 votes to move forward. But the bill has critics on the left and the right. Liberals say it would make it harder for migrants to claim asylum. Conservatives say the measures aren't nearly tough enough. House Speaker Mike Johnson, who first laid eyes on the text last night, says it's worse than he expected, and it won't get a vote in his chamber.
The proposal would overhaul the asylum system with faster and tougher enforcement, as well as give residents new powers to immediately expel migrants if authorities became overwhelmed with the number of people applying for asylum. Samsung's chairman has been acquitted of financial crimes related to a 2015 merger, ABC's Mark Rimlard reports.
A South Korean court has acquitted Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Jae-yong of financial crimes related to a contentious merger in 2015 that tightened his grip on the massive electronics company. The ruling could ease the legal troubles for Lee less than 2 years after he was pardoned of bribery in a separate case. Prosecutors had sought a 5-year jail term after he was accused of stock price manipulation and accounting fraud. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
Going on to weather now, finally a bit of a break from the snow as it remains cloudy with some showers coming on Wednesday that aren't expected to stop until the weekend with high speeds of 8 degrees. That was your 10 o'clock news on The Crow. I'm Liam Higgs.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow. This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Disney has a vision of the world, and they're just gonna keep pushing until the world is accepting of people from all backgrounds.
Welcome back to Behind the Scenes. I'm Lauren Achille.
And I'm Sophie Hansen.
So, what are we going to be talking about?
Well, it's out with the old and in with the new. The company Walt Disney is and has been dominating the entertainment industry for over 100 years.
That's right. So we are going to be diving into what criteria Disney has put into place for diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to casting, because there has been some controversy over this. And I mean, all over social media, there are some people who are just amazed and super happy about these new castings, but then there's others that are not so pleased. People all over social media are pushing their opinions, and so today we are going to pick apart what people have been saying, all while trying to get to the bottom of what Disney's actual criteria and intentions are for casting diverse roles. And just so you know, we are going to be saying the term DEI a lot.
Yeah, so basically when we say DEI, it's going to be short for this acronym, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And basically that's the process that is enabling the consumers and staff to feel safe and seen and represented when being involved in Disney.
Cue the music! Oh my god.
We have our heading.
Here we go! The world of Disney is the most magical place ever. Well, I grew up watching Disney, but we only noticed the drastic changes made to their iconic movies over the last few years. As a kid, lots of things would kind of, fly over my head when it came to racist aspects in certain movies. And now when analyzing these movies, there are things that are now coming to light. And to be fair, lots of films, not even by Disney, all shared racist views. And honestly, that's just how it was. These last 25 years are significantly different when it comes to DEI and so much more. So, we have to remember that what is societally normal and accepted now is something that wouldn't be, 60, 70 years ago. So we kind of have to look at this from a modern view and a historical view and kind of not get those mixed up. Now, the two other movies, Peter Pan, aka Peter and Wendy, and The Little Mermaid have released live action remakes in 2023. So social media has had a heyday in terms of the official content and casting, and the media has been able to express a diverse array of opinions.
How do we get to Neverland?
Fly, of course.
Peter Pan was first brought to life in a play by James Matthew Barrie in 1904, and it wasn't until 1953 that it was created into the first of the Peter Pan movies. Wendy, John, Michael, they're all siblings, are visited by Peter Pan, who claims to be from this place called Neverland. Neverland is supposedly a land in which they will never grow up, and of course they all fly to Neverland, because why not?
Hey, honestly, I don't even blame them.
I would do the same thing if I could. As we touched on in the beginning, we can recognize as journalists that terminology and what is or isn't culturally appropriate can change over time. But, oh my goodness, if you look back on the Peter Pan, go watch the movie, you'll notice some of the terminology and names for groups of people wouldn't really be that acceptable today. The voice cast was what you may already be expecting. Almost, entirely Caucasian American men and women, boys and girls. And that's why the research for Peter Pan was really interesting. I wanted to focus on the new live action version now. So Peter and Wendy was released just this year and features a cast from all over the world. Peter is played by Alexander Molyneux. a 16-year-old mixed-race British actor. This was Molyneux's big break. So just because he started working for Disney didn't mean that the public opinion was hidden away. He faced a multitude of conflicting opinions on the fact that the original Peter was Caucasian.
Hold on, just to backpedal for a really quick second, did the voice actor for Peter in the original Peter Pan film ever face any backlash?
Well, no. Not back then for sure. So the main voice actor, his name is Bobby Driscoll. Driscoll actually played a lead part in The Song of the South in 1946, which, if you haven't heard, was a very problematic film. And The Song of the South also plays at a very popular Disney ride, Splash Mountain, which is no longer. Unfortunately, after many years of substance abuse, Driscoll passed away at the age of 31 due to heart failure, but the public has their fair share of criticism. I wanted to mention specifically the portrayal of indigenous communities in Peter Pan was also built around internalized racism. This is absolutely a reflection of the times. The original play, written by J.M. Barrie, even names the indigenous group something that is irrefutably racist. I will let you guys look it up if you're interested. I won't repeat it myself, but in some cases Peter is also referred to as the Great White Father. The 1953 film of Peter Pan now showcases a content warning, highlighting that the topics in the film are depicting characters incorrectly.
Well, that took a turn, and I have to say, after having done so much research, the both of us, on each of these films, we can actually see how dark the themes of most of these Disney movies actually are. You have to tell me what you found.
Oh, absolutely. Do you recognize any of this?
Something about you seems different. I can't quite figure it out.
She got legs, you idiot.
The Little Mermaid that came out recently.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. The controversy over that movie all over social media is crazy.
All right. Well, let's just get into it then.
Okay. Well, let's start from the very beginning.
Love to explore that shore up above.
The Little Mermaid was released in 1950 and had primarily white voice actors. So the woman who voiced Ariel was Jodie Benson. Benson is an American voice actress. She also has red hair, coincidentally. The new movie now, The Little Mermaid 2023, is out with a new Ariel. Her name is very well known, Halle Bailey. She is an African-American actress who plays Ariel. Now, there was and still is a lot of controversy over this casting. Some fans were really proud, really happy, and pleased about this change, and others not so much. Why have a black Ariel? Isn't she white in the cartoon? This is a common question among Disney fans that have been posted all over TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. If you go take a look on Disney's Instagram account, there's a post of the new live-action movie of The Little Mermaid being released. And these are some of the comments. They're literally on there. You can go check right now. And they quote, "Can you start making good movies with original stories again, please? It just doesn't hit right." Another one, "I feel nauseous, and who else is super excited for the Taylor Swift playing Tiana?"
Oh my god.
Yeah. All of these types of comments flooded this Disney post. People weren't happy about this, really. And the decision to cast Ariel as a black woman, people weren't too pleased. But despite this, Disney keeps pushing this envelope, according to Kenton Lowe.
Yay, Kenton.
So we were able to sit down with Kenton, who has worked in many different aspects of Disney from 1995 to 1999. He was a vice president of international development, Imagineering, to vice president of marketing and consumer sales, interactive education publishing. He's also the current dean of business and media here at BCIT to talk more about DEI.
So I got the job at the Walt Disney Company by chance. A gentleman called me and said, "Hey, we got a position at the Walt Disney Company. Would you be interested in exploring it?"
We discussed the overarching themes of DEI in Disney films.
It's a very difficult process to create new intellectual property that's going to knock it out of the ballpark. And so there's there's an approach where you've already got a proven property and say, let's do a variation of it. Let's do a live action version of it and see if that will fly. Probably things that related to like DEI back in the days when I was there. There might have been a little bit more caution. But even when I was there, Disney pushed the envelope and did things that were controversial. Right now, there's going to be people that say, what? Well, they did that for Little Mermaid live action. You know, they said, Disney, do you recall Disney in the animated movie, Ariel was not black? You know, there's going to be people that will always do that. You know, society still has those people. I would probably be a lot more aware, because I am now over the years, as I've worked for other companies as well too. I'd be a lot more aware, and it would come into play on decision making. Like we'd be asking ourselves, okay, are we making sure we are cognizant of what we're creating, that we're thinking about like diversity, equity, and inclusion?
So we were able to talk to Namisha Mukherjee. She is a Canadian film director. She's worked on a plethora of Disney series, 2 including Mech X4 and Gabby Duran. So she gives us her take on DEI within the film production from a director's view. So let's hear what she has to say.
I think what from the director's side, I felt like, okay, wow, like Disney is like cracking things open, and like the perspective, the POV is so important. Like who is in charge of the POV of the episodes or the movies? You know, I found that the way that they were approaching these stories was really, you know, to me in some ways, I don't think it's going too far by saying it's groundbreaking, because this definitely wasn't television that I grew up watching. I think the audience, fuels demand in so many ways. And I think that the conversation has really shifted in the last, even 5 years in terms of the way that there is like a really outspoken, savvy, young demographic that, I think has demanded to see themselves represented on screen. And I think that with the competition that's occurring with social media platforms, and like you have YouTube, people want to see, audiences want, viewers want, especially young viewers want to see themselves reflected. I think whenever there's change, there is going to be backlash and resistance. From what I've witnessed, and just from being, privy on the television side to internal discussions, there's just a real sense of awareness. It comes back to intention and motivations. I think that, this is a new time and a new age.
All right, guys. Disney prides itself over its ability to write, cast, and produce films and TV shows that incorporate diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our favorite acronym of this episode, DEI.
Is Disney succeeding at including DEI in their movies? Are people not accepting this and wanting Disney to cast what they feel is original? People have very different opinions, and it's hard to please everyone. So what do you think? Is Disney doing a good job, or are they trying too hard? We want to know if you're going to watch these new adaptations, and if you have already, tell us about it at behindthescenespodcast.ca.
All right, guys. Again, thank you all for listening to this week's episode. Please, please come back next week when we tune into the dark side of Nickelodeon. More specifically, our favorite, Dan Schneider. Everything hit the fan when stars started coming forward about his problematic and extremely inappropriate behavior.
This is going to be a crazy episode, guys.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Teresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.